Let's begin with a short story. Imagine someone places a contract in front of you and says, sign this now, or something bad will happen. Or imagine you sign a document you thought was a scholarship form, but it was actually a land transfer. Should the law force you to honor such a contract? Obviously not. And that's why today's chapter exists. Chapter 4 explains how the laws protects you when a contract is formed under unfair, dishonest, or abusive circumstances. These are the license outcomes: defenses against formation, lack of capacity, duresis, undue influence, illusory promise, statute of frauds, known as facto. Let's start with the first defense: capacity. Under Section 11 of the Contracts Act, a person must be 18 years old, be of sound mind, not disqualified by any law. The famous case Mohori Bibi versus Damodar Gosses confirms that in Malaysia, contracts made by minors are void. But there are few exceptions. Necessaries, Section 69, scholarships, insurance for minors above age 10. So for example, if a mentally disordered person is supplied with food or clothes, the supplier can claim reimbursement from that person's property. This is specifically allowed under Section 69. So capacity protects vulnerable people from being trapped in an unfair contracts. Next is duress. It's also known as coercions. Section 15 defines coercion as threatening to commit an act forbidden by the penal code or detaining property to compel someone to enter a contract. In Kasama versus Valiappa Chetia, a contract signed in front of Japanese officers during the occupations was declared invalid because consent was not freely given. And modern law also recognizes economic duress where financial pressure is used to force someone into a contract. So if your will is overpowered, the agreement becomes voidable. You may cancel it. Part 3. Undue influence. Now, duress involves traits. Undue influence is more subtle. It involves power imbalance. Under Section 16, a person uses their position to dominate another's will. Examples: the parent influencing a child unfairly, doctor taking advantage of a sick patient, lawyer using authority over a client. The law presumes undue influences when special relationships exist. For example, a doctor persuading a dying patient to pay him 100,000 ringgit Malaysia. Unless he can prove the transaction was fair, the court assumes undue influence. This doctrine protects weaker parties from quiet, hidden exploitation. Now we move to next defense: illusory promises. This one is more simple, but it's actually more powerful. So, If I say I'll pay you 1,000 ringgit Malaysia, if I feel like it, so is this a real promises? No, it's not. An illusory promise does not create a binding contract because it imposes no real obligations on the promiser. This defense stops people from escaping contracts by giving empty, meaningless promises. The next topic, statute of frauds, SOF. Well, Malaysian laws allows oral agreements for many things. Certain contract must be in writing. For example, contracts involving land, guarantee agreements. The case Diamond Pitt versus Dr. Tweedy confirms that even oral land contracts may be enforceable, but only in Peninsular Malaysia. But in MN Guha Majumder versus Van Donoff, the court held in Sarawak, such contracts were unenforceable because the statute of frauds applies. So writing matters, and with modern law, even emails and electronic communication can be considered as written instruments. Next, non-S factum. This is not my deed. So the last defense is the most dramatic one. Non-S factum. Meaning that this is not my deed. This applies when someone tries to sign a document believing it was something completely different. For example, a person signs what they believe is a hospital authorization form. It's actually a land transfer document, if you can recall back the example. To succeed in this defense, the person must prove they were not careless. The document was fundamentally different from what they believe. A famous case is Petalin versus Kulin, where an illiterate man signed a document which he did not understand, and the court declared the contract void from the beginning. This defense protects the innocent and illiterate from deceptions.